All right, it is a little after, a minute after 10. We'll go ahead and call Courts and Public Safety Committee to order. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Erickson.
Here.
Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Morris.
Mr. Hardy.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Mr. Beggs.
Here.
Mr. Beggs.
Here.
With that,
I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes from June 8th, 2023.
I'll make that motion, Hardy. Support.
motion and
A motion and a support. Any discussion on the minutes?
All those in favor?
All those in favor to approve the minutes as written, say aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
the same?
Opposed, the same.
Very good.
Very good. That is passed. Any changes to the agenda?
With that, we'll entertain
a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Walker.
So moved, Walker. Support, Hardy. Support, Hardy.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor to approve the agenda as written, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Good public comment.
Good. Public comment for Courts and Public Safety.
All right, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Move on.
We'll move on.
Sheriff Mast.
Sheriff Mast and Shelby Schools Resource Officer discussion.
Yes, we're pretty excited about this. This seems like a big opportunity for us to get a peace officer, a deputy sheriff, in our biggest school system. So we've prepared the numbers that we've, Under Sheriff Fort Friel hired on preparing the numbers on what it looks like, what the grant will fund. We've had, went so far as to had a conversation with the village of Shelby about the portion that's not covered, about how we're gonna, so we're working on that, on trying to get some extended coverage on the rest of this, the costs of this. But we're very excited about this opportunity. We've got here with us to speak also, to represent Shelby Schools. We asked her to come represent, she was happy to come do so we're really glad she's here. If anybody would have any questions for her, she's available here. Sir.
Ken, Sure, if I just have one question.
Sure, if I just have one
and
question,
I will
and
apologize ahead of
will
time.
apologize ahead of time, because I did not read through all of the agreement. I looked through most of it, but if something
catastrophic or something difficult happened with employees and stuff, you have the option of pulling the officer out for a short period of time to cover shifts in that on your department. I don't wanna ever see that have to happen. Is it in there?
But is it in there? Is it understood that it?
It's understood. I don't know that it's written in there, and maybe.
And I don't think it needs to be
And I don't think it
written.
needs to be
I don't
written.
think it
I'm
needs
sure,
to be
I don't
written
think it
in
needs to be
there.
written in there.
Just so we have had a discussion.
We have had a
that,
discussion that, you know.
It was certainly subject of a very cordial meeting with the Shelby officials, so they all understood
If we get into
If we
something
get into
like
something like a
a
pandemic,
pandemic,
and you have 5 or 6 officers that go off sick,
Staffing is-
you might have to,
you might have to, for a couple
have
weeks
your
now,
officer
have
come
your
back.
officer come back and work the road.
Absolutely.
If you've got it covered.
If you've got it covered,
You've
that's the only
discussed
thing,
it.
if you've discussed it, that's the only thing.
I think we're in a good position.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
Yes.
Sheriff, the balance that isn't covered by the, grant, is that, the intention is to have, Shelby Village
So,
pick that up?
we've begun, Shelby Village is short on manpower as well as a lot of places are. So, we've begun the conversation with the village about them being able to pick that up, and when this idea first came out, we really thought this might pair well with Golden Township, but in thinking that idea further, whoever's in Golden Township is gonna need to be in Golden Township. And who's ever assigned to Shelby Schools is gonna need to be in Shelby Schools when school's in session. They're not gonna need to be burning up their vacation days, the mass of them, the gross part of their vacation days, when they need to be in school. Golden's gonna want the same thing. When somebody's at Golden, they're not gonna want them burning up their year's worth of vacation that summertime when they're supposed to be at Golden Township. So instead of partnering with Golden Township, we're really wondering if it might be a better partnership right with the village, because they're so short of staff as well. Currently, the village has got a chief and one patrol officer. We're covering Shelby a lot as it is. The sheriff's department and the state police are covering the village a lot of times. We're taking a lot of complaints in the village of Shelby. Just this, well, end of last week, our deputy got sent to an unwanted person at the Wesco station. It's his second time he's been an unwanted person at the Wesco station. He fought with Shelby Officer Kraus and injured Kraus. He was being advised he was not welcome there. He fought with our deputy. Deputy tased him twice. He came to jail for resisting opposed, trespass, a couple other charges as well. So you know, we're seeing some serious things come out of the village that we're policing on the days that we're having to cover the village. So we're having that conversation with the village about them covering, about them picking up some of this overage to keep an officer in the village, to help them cover some shifts that aren't covered by the village. Mr. Erickson, you look like you got a
Well, I
question.
just was remembering the issue a month and a half ago when there was gunplay on Michigan Avenue and Shelby, you know, being short on manpower and, you know, the population twist that we've had, you know, with the complaints that are here. And I'm wondering if this person at the West Coast, needed a pickup order or needed to be, needed some mental health.
Well, he's on bond. You know, the bond conditions were for him not to possess consumed alcohol, and he was highly intoxicated. And it's obvious that the substance abuse issues that he has doesn't fare well with his mental health situation. So he makes incredibly poor decisions while he's under the influence. Yeah. As is often the case.
And it is our largest school.
It is our largest school, yeah. And what's more important than school safety? Now and forever. You know, school safety is our very most important thing that we can concentrate on.
And bilingual. We need this officer have a bilingual. I know.
In perfect world, I don't know that that's an option yet. So we're in your perfect world, that'd be great. I don't know if that's gonna be an option.
Tough qualification to fill.
Yeah, it is. That would be a very particular person.
Sheriff, do you see this grant renewing again?
So it's a 3-year grant right now. There's a lot of agencies that haven't been able to fulfill the grant, so there's gonna be some leftover dollars on the grant. It's been very popular though. There's a lot of agencies put in for it. And again, what's more important than school safety? So I wouldn't be. I would be surprised if it was not renewed. Right? I really would.
Sure, if I can add a couple.
So that'd be good too. So come on up.
Thank you, everybody. So for the purposes of this grant, it would require that local share to be burdened by, to come to the county. Whether it's the 18,187 annually, or down to the 16,994. Obviously, that number depends on what deputy applies for the position, just due to what their pay scale is. So, that burden would be come to the county. Now, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty small number. It's a pretty small number for a full-time employee. With that being said, the school district actually is the fiduciary of the grant. They're the receivers of the grant, and they would make annual payments to the county. Similarly, I would guess if we had an agreement with the village, that conversation develops and furthers, the village would then reimburse or write us a check for the services rendered. Similarly to how we've been doing it with the other municipalities. So provided a little bit of clarity there, because probably necessary.
But
Mrs. Springer, she actually wrote the grant for the school district. She's working as a consultant for Shelby Public Schools. And obviously, many of you probably know she was a principal down in New Era for a number of years, so she knows the district very well. And so she's well versed in this grant and the details of it. But I'll let her say anything that she might like to add.
Come on up.
Thank you.
Well,
I just want to thank Sheriff Mast and Under Sheriff Schiller in the village of Shelby for partnering with us. We are very excited for this opportunity. Obviously, you know, it was some work to put the grant together, and we are just excited to have this individual in our school system to build positive relationships with our kids and to just help in any way that they're able to help. So we're grateful for that.
This is a
three-year grant, and so I appreciate the question of what's next. Part of the grant was asking that question, what's next? And like Sheriff Mast expressed, we have every hope that they'll renew this grant again. However, in the event that they don't, we're exploring other ways to finance this through other funding sources. And so I just want to assure you that the vision goes beyond that 3 years, that we're hopeful for these funds to continue, but we recognize they may not. And so we're looking at another option to continue to fund this great resource that we anticipate having. Do any of you have any specific questions for me and for Shelby Public Schools?
You have a licensed police officer available. We can step right in. I'm sure the sheriff would appreciate that if you had some.
I'm grinning at you, right, because I'm the mother of a deputy.
And I realize that.
Oh, is that who you were implying? Yeah, he did. Seth worked for Oceana for a time period in Golden Township. Loved his time here.
I'm sure if you wanted to come back, would like to talk to him.
You can bet that I've had this conversation with him as his mother, right? And Seth is not necessarily ready to give up his road patrol. So he loves what he does. But has 2 little girls, right, in Shelby Public Schools. So also has a future investment in this as a dad.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great question.
That's a great question. I have had that conversation.
I had to try.
Ready?
Loaded question.
Any others?
I'm sorry, I have a quick question for the Sheriff. I'm assuming, Sheriff, that this school resource officer has to have a certain certification. Is that a long process or?
So there is trainings available for the SRO officers, and we're looking into those trainings right now to when we can. So Ryan sent out a survey to the guys. We told them that we haven't been given the okay yet, but we want to find out who's interested in this position. So once we do, then find out what training they need to get up to date on school resource officer.
The grant also covers the cost of that training, just so the board understands that. That's part of the grant.
So it's a really nice opportunity for us, our community.
Well, it's a nice opportunity for the Shelby School District as well.
Absolutely.
And once they get their complete campus done, that's.
It's a big deal.
Well, and with the, the addition of the Shelby Acres, as that goes through, that's gonna add more students to the body. So,
More need.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Two questions, and I don't need specifics on this first one. You do have willing bodies instead of assigned bodies that are interested in this
Yeah,
assignment?
we've got some interest.
Okay, that's good, 'cause those go better than assigned bodies, so that's good. If the funding from the village falls through, and that's county portion, this deputy's off time from the SRO would probably just be road patrol or some sort of patrol with the sheriff's department. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
That is correct.
Okay. I think it's a great opportunity.
In complete, being completely transparent, if this conversation with Shelby Village doesn't fall through, then that person would be assigned to road patrol,
Yep.
et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this.
Yeah, I think this is a spectacular opportunity,
Make sure there's-
to make sure there's an officer in the school, and then whatever the balance of that time looks like, whether it's at the village or countywide or whatever that is.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you, no.
Thank you,
Great.
no.
Thank you guys,
Great.
thank you guys, I can't stay long today, I've gotta be at school board myself.
One question though before you go. The other night you gave a nice presentation on your trip to the border. Could you let the room know?
I've got an opportunity to, back up last year, I was asked to go to, Washington DC and learn about our border and learn, there was a, Faces of Fentanyl was there during the border seminar that I was at in Washington, and it was very informative. We learned a lot about the influx of fentanyl into our and other illegal drugs into our country through the open border and how it affects small towns in Michigan, etc. It was very, very informative. This year, I've been invited again. This year, we're being asked to come to the border to see it in person. We're being asked to come to McAllen, Texas, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. The sheriffs in this district, so myself, Sheriff Cole, Sheriff Gutowski, I don't know others. I know us four are going. It's all expenses paid, except for the travel down there. The travel down there, it's $485, and the Oceana Republicans has offered to sponsor me for my travel. So it doesn't have to necessarily involve our tax dollars. I don't have to come here asking you, but I am letting you know that the Republican Party was very, very generous in helping me with travel funds, and I'll be going to the border with other sheriffs, and I know Senator Bumstead has been invited as well, and Representative Vanderwall has been invited as well. So I'm very excited to see what it is we hear so much about and learn what's going on, and then to try to bring that back and share with you all. It's a huge upgrade, yep.
First hand.
Yes, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Any
Any department head reports for Courts of Public Safety? Mr. Maloney?
Concluded with another year of electric force, so I'll give you an update on that. Everything went well, we had no major glitches in anything, no major events, so we appreciate that. Through this event, we got asked by Lieutenant Thieger from Division of Homeland Security at MSP, and I got asked to tour our incident command system because it's very unique in national sense, because not only is it obviously in the middle of nowhere and 50,000 people there, but the fact that we partner with a public agency and our actual unified incident commander is a private person working for a private company, that's very unique in governmental incident management. Excuse me, allergies kill me. So we actually brought in tours. We had the police chief, emergency manager, and command staff from Grand Valley University came in and toured that whole thing. So they got to go through the fire command. They got to look at our dispatch program was running. Communications unit leader class is going on through that, and MSP, and then obviously the unified command post for the force itself. And so they did. We also had the emergency manager, assistant manager of Kent County, and the same for the city of Grand Rapids came through, and our administrator came through. And Chief Yost wanted to commend you because you're the first administrator that he's known that's come through, and he appreciated that. But what was interesting about it was they were very impressed with how Oceana County as a whole is managing that partnership, not only what's going on in the inside of that force with MSP and the force itself, but how we are prepared in dealing with our incident action plan to deal with things on the outside, whether it's that event spilling out or whether it's these units getting sucked in. So it was really a great kudos for the county and everybody involved. And then through that, those people also brought it up at our Region 6 planning committee. It's 13 counties that we're involved with, and they encourage others to come through and see it next year because of its uniqueness with that public-private partnership. So, everything is good. Thank you.
Just one quick
questions?
thing.
Just one quick thing.
One quick thing.
Just one quick thing.
Before
Chief Yost was the chief there.
two other administrators
Two other
had been to the
administrators
electric
had been to the electric
And he
force.
qualified that, so he was the only one he had known since he was there, so it's good, but either way, kudos, and, we appreciate it. Everything went well, and I think it's due to good planning.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other department head reports?
Next day.
Next day. All right. Public comment. Public comment before we close courts and public safety.
All right.
All right. That we will adjourn. But your meeting won't be that quick.
Probably not.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the Finance and Administration Committee. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Erickson? Mr. Morse?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Here. I'd ask for a motion for approval of the meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support. Motion by Beggs, support by Erickson, for approval of the minutes from June 22nd, 2023. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Hardy?
Mr.
I have
Yes.
two
I
things
have
I'd like to
two
ask
things
for
I'd like to
discussion. I
ask
think
for
we'll have
discussion. I
time
think
for
we'll
them
have
today.
time for them today.
Okay.
A discussion about
A discussion
Veterans
about the
Affairs
Veterans
vehicle
Affairs vehicle
and a discussion about a county vehicle.
vehicle.
All right, I'll put that in right after the IT updates.
Thank you.
Is that-
Thank you.
All right, any other changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll ask for approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Motion made and support, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Is there any public comment at this time for Finance and Administration Committee? Hearing none, we'll move on. Administrator Biard, child care budget, 2023-78.
So the
child care budget,
comes before you each year.
And
Betty Carter had provided
the child care budget
for,
that needs to be submitted to the state of Michigan.
That is a
decrease from this year's budget, and they are asking that the board approve that.
Any questions or comments?
This,
$529,611, that comes out of the general fund, or is that offset?
Nope, that is a separate fund of
Okay.
its own. So all of the funds that come in from the state of Michigan for revenue purposes, those go into that fund, and then anything that's expended out of there.
Okay. Is the income from the state, is it
a net zero?
Is it a net zero, budget
neutral
neutral as far as the county's concerned, or is it, I don't recall.
There is a.
No, there is
I can't tell you what the fund
I
balance
can't tell you what the fund balance is, but there is a fund balance in that budget.
Okay.
And
at this point, no general fund
Okay.
funds are going into that budget.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we will move on. Mr. Biard, IT updates to Active Directory domain controllers, Trace 3, number 2023-79.
Okay,
this
so
was a request from
Amy Contreras, our IT department,
and
I'm just going to read here what she put in here, since I'm not a IT whiz, but
she's
requesting additional money, $6,500 for an unplanned but high priority project to have Trace 3 professional services help her decommission a Sheriff Active Directory domain controller that is running under Windows Server 2008, because it's an outdated system. It leaves us vulnerable to viruses, malware, and cyber attacks. Scope of work includes upgrading the other domain controller from Windows Server 2012 R2 to Windows Server 2019 and migrating the HCP from the domain controller to a new one.
Yes, Mr. Walker.
May I ask the undersheriff a question?
May I ask the undersheriff a question?
Undersheriff Scheller,
Undersheriff Scheller, Trace
do
3.
they have to be approved by the state?
Do they have to be approved by the state?
And if so, are they approved by the state
to
to
do
do
this work on the law enforcement
I think
systems?
Trace 3, I think we've, had them do work for us in the past. I think they've done some work for us. If they're gonna be on site, if they come on site, they might have to be fingerprinted, but for CJIS compliance, but outside of that, it would be okay.
If we go ahead with
this,
would you make sure that
would you make sure that
it's compliant,
that they're allowed to get in?
I know how sensitive
your records are at times.
And if I can add any clarity to it, I certainly will take care of that. I'll work with Amy and make sure that that component's taken care of. There's a 2008 server down there that hosts the Active Directory, and to take that machine, that 2008 server offline, apparently it's a bit cumbersome and intricate to be able to get those directories from that server, the old one, to the new one. It wasn't as seamless as it was planned, hence the unplanned event. And this company does this all the time. This is what they do, and Amy felt that that was the best course of action, just in terms of time and efficiency, to have this taken care of, because it's a bit cumbersome to get the data from the old one to the new one. That server is so old, we've just been extremely fortunate.
I certainly understand
that when we're getting into something that this technical and this sensitive, that there is a need for outside help for it. Amy does a phenomenal job on what she does for us, but sometimes it's difficult. And I also understand from having a family member who does it, that when you're integrating from one system to the other, you have to develop software links to allow those things to happen. It's difficult.
And Undersheriff Scheller, I have a quick question. I know Amy's not here to answer it, but maybe you can. The current version of Windows Server that's available is 2022. You guys are going to basically 2012. 2012R. Is that correct?
I think the 2012 R1 is being migrated to 2019.
2019. No.
I do believe that's what she put in the.
Yeah, well, this is one of the 2019 Windows Server support ends January 9th, or January 2024. So I was just kind of curious as if it's not possible to go to 2022. That service technically ends in October 2026 or support. But I know there may be issues between the software programs that don't allow you to do that jump. That would be my only question.
I wish I could answer it. I don't know the answer to that one. I don't know the answer to that one.
I agree outside services, because I've had that happen before, but sometimes you can't jump, 3 versions, but it might be interesting to just know if you can. I mean, rather than having the, the support for that end in January 2024. Sure. And again, I mean, put you on the spot, but I'm just kind of curious. So, appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? All right. Hearing none. Mr. Walker, Veterans Affairs.
On the first one, I'll need Mr. Beggs' help with this. I understand that Veterans Affairs have raised the funds and are purchasing a vehicle for transporting.
It's paid for from a grant.
Okay.
Yep.
And with that being said, I don't know if Veterans Affairs entitle that vehicle themselves to get plates for it. Sometimes there's some hiccups in doing that. administrator told me that, just this morning, the Veterans Affairs would like us to insure that vehicle. So if we're gonna title it and insure it,
I think that they have done the motion with their board to purchase it.
I think we probably should
do
a resolution or a motion that if necessary, we will title it and we will insure it. So it doesn't fall. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you based on being on that board?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That way, yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah,
necessary.
if necessary, if they can't title it.
If they can't title it, or they can't insure it, that we will cover that on our insurance.
Sure.
They are using our EIN number in order to get that plate, so it would be under the county. Do you want that included in the motion, for the board?
That we will title, register it, and insure the vehicle if necessary.
Yep, that makes
And
sense.
clarify.
And to clarify, just so the board is aware that this vehicle
is probably,
they haven't purchased one yet. Ideally a minivan style with a wheelchair lift to be able to help volunteers to transport VA members who need medical care and other appointments, so.
100% is supportive of it. I know that, in different parts of the state, they've done this for years and had fundraisers to be able to do that.
Very important.
But I just wanna make sure that we cover our bases so we don't get in a hiccup.
Right. No, I think that seems like a good idea.
I understand that they have found a vehicle.
Oh.
They hadn't as of last Friday.
This was
just this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They found to be.
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead,
I'm
sorry.
just wondering,
Round about how many dollars?
round about how many dollars are we looking at for?
17,000. And it's all being paid through the MDAA grant, which is through the state of Michigan. They had an amendment to the amount that they were getting, and it included that full amount to cover the cost of the vehicle.
They did have some donations. I remember we had a fund run, and then we had individuals that have donated towards that specific thing too. However it's funded, they've taken care of it.
The reason I was wondering, John Fletcher passed away. One of our veterans. And his brawn ability is available now.
Oh.
A very nice brawn ability.
That's all I had on that.
Okay, Mr. Walker, you wanna continue with the courthouse?
I asked the administrator's office to get prices on Chevrolet Malibus through state purchase, and after a couple emails, office made a phone call today to state purchase, and the Malibu, you have prices, our prices on
Malibu LS 19,951, or a Malibu LT 21,853. The LS is available for sure, and they're checking on the available of the LT right now.
It's different between them all.
Not much.
They all come pretty
standard now, with, you know, power windows, air conditioning, cruise control aids, you know.
And our local dealer still recently just said that they don't have anything available. But state purchase, they're available.
Are they pretty comparable in price then too, or?
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
19.
Yeah, it was 19
and 21.
19 and 21. 19,995 was the first, or 951 is the first one, 21,853.
And it is about 3,000 less than the other prices we were quoted.
That's the actual state.
19 grams a bargain for a brand new car. Yeah.
And I think
an LS suffice.
When we look at what we
used to have compared to a
LS.
brand new LS. Tremendous difference. Mr. Walker, do you want to do a resolution during the regular board meeting for approval
To move forward with it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy.
All right, moving on, administrator's review of selected claims for payments.
Those claims have been provided to you. Are there any questions on those?
I did see we had
I
a
did see we had a claim for the Shelby Township Park.
And I thought it was
wonderful grant that was just announced
Shelby
with the Shelby Township Park also.
I'm looking under 549 building department, I see a $2,700 expense to Thomas Story.
Yes, that's for,
That's Rich Story's
That's
father.
Rich Story's father, he's filling in for,
till we hire somebody to finish up the inspection.
And how close are we now to getting caught up?
It's for the plumbing only.
It's for the plumbing only.
And,
Yeah.
Sonny is
working on
his license.
on his license for plumbing.
I see Sonny in there too.
Sonny's
would be for the
mechanical.
Mechanical.
At this time, and
Tom Story would be for the plumbing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
Tracy,
That's okay.
I just had this discussion with Randy just,
within the last
couple weeks.
And also I see our quarterly insurance for MMRMA, 45,000. Our annual is almost 200,000 for our insurance coverage.
Yes.
Tracy, is it the liability insurance or is it the workman's comp that we get? If there's no activity, we get rebates, or is it both of them?
Both of them. We get a dividend from our workers' compensation, and we also get a net asset distribution, which comes through MMRMA, which offsets that cost.
After the annual audit.
Yes.
Right. Yep.
Correct. It's usually in January when we get that.
And then I think that's when they review the rate for, so you may get a different rate.
Right.
A lower.
They review the claims.
We have been very fortunate that our employees are very diligent and we don't have a lot of claims.
Yeah.
And I also see on 710, quarterly went out to Michigan State Extension for $35,000, so that would make our annual 140. Yep. Correct. Any other questions or comments? Moving on, Ms. Biard, Administrator's Report.
I have provided a copy of my administrator's report in the packet. But wanted to also inform you that I've been talking about the materials management grant and the plan that we're looking at putting together possibly with other counties. Aaron Kuhn with Wimserdick is trying to collaborate a meeting with them because they would like to take on that responsibility for us, but we haven't been successful yet on scheduling that time, just having some issues with dates, but once we get that scheduled, then we'll be able to meet with them to talk through that. The Board of Commissioners had asked for the personnel policy to be forwarded on to the county attorney to review. I have received that back. I haven't had a chance to go through all of it. But they noted some duplication throughout the document and asked if we would like some of those duplicated items to be removed so that not in there more than once. I will provide a copy of that to you and to Mr. Morris for review as well, so we can take a look at that at a later date. And then the other thing I wanted to let you know,
First of all, the audits
are on your desk.
I'm sure that
that'll give you some light reading.
But the
auditors will be with us, at the next board meeting.
On Zoom.
And he will be reviewing, that information with you, so, we look forward to that.
And last,
I provided a list of the budget schedule with dates.
I sent out an email
to all the department heads yesterday, with regards to the budget and scheduling some trainings with them. I have a couple dates set up for 4 different trainings.
If they're not able to meet
those, then I've also set aside some dates to allow for some individual trainings, to go over some things with them, and the budget module to allow them input of their budget. So, if the board wants to make any changes to any of those dates, they don't work, or we need to look at some other times, then we can discuss that after you've had time to look it over.
Yes.
Yes. Mayor,
Tracy has brought up
a couple things to me.
This morning with things that
she had a private vendor
contact her
about liability insurance.
He would like to bid on liability insurance. I get the impression he's a very assertive salesman. And my first question was how many other counties does he have? And she said Macomb County, and there were 2 other counties that he looked at. It didn't work out. So right now, unless the other board members have a feeling elsewise, I think we need to deal and work on our budget and everything, and work on that before we get into something as important for the private vendor for liability insurance. There's a reason that very few of the 83 counties have private vendors for liability insurance. Kind of a concurrence from the board members that's okay to put on our actor. And the only other thing is, Tim, it may be something you're interested in, both the clerk's office and the administrator's office have a copy of the road commission audit. If anybody wants to get a copy of it, or if anybody wants to look through it, we do have it here.
Okay, great.
All set. Department head report. Gary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to give you a brief update on a couple of parks things going on currently. We were notified by Conservation Resource Alliance that they have been reached out from the DNR, and the grant for the final $625,000 is going to go through for sure now. So the state actually got the money from the Federal Wildlife Foundation. That was the one that was kind of in abeyance for a while, so that's now been taken care of. Road Commission has ordered the bridge, and the bridge will be sitting this winter at the Road Commission facility. They'll start doing some work on the bridge. Once the frost laws get off in the spring of '24, that's when the work will start at the Marshville Dam project. So,
everything looks good.
Everything looks good. I think we're going to probably do some restoration area. Probably some removal of invasive species this fall, which falls into the plan, so things are coming along well there.
Cedar Point Park?
Cedar Point Park, I'm happy to say that the new pavilion is going up, and we recently got an additional $6,000 from a local family to do the concrete work, exterior turn around there, and wheel a wheelchair right up into this new facility that will be finishing hopefully with this. It'll probably be building's going to go up Friday, Saturday, and then concrete will be a week after that, and then roof, of course, at the same time. So time they get the fascia and soffit out and all that stuff is probably going to be late August, I would imagine. But concrete's kind of slow right now, but we're twisting Steve Sugar's arm as much as we can before it breaks. Black Lake, we've had a make a change with our family there, the Johnsons, Alice and Brian Johnson. Brian's been in the hospital in ICU for a heart issue, so they've resigned their location, their campground host position, and we've been able to work out a program with a new couple, Jean and Diane Reddings is their name. Jean graduated from Shelby High School a number of years ago, and they moved their trailer into the facility. I've been working with Tracy on getting everything lined up. They passed the state police audit and so on. What do they call it, Tracy? The state police, they do a background check. That's what it is. So they did that with flying colors, so they're getting involved. The good news is that Gene likes to do work. He has 2 chainsaws and a lawnmower, so he's already started embarking on removing stuff that I probably wouldn't remove, but we'll have to keep them under control a little bit.
So that's good.
Crystal Valley, we had another outhouse tip over. We've now gone to the point of staking the outhouses down physically. There's a 4x4 post that's 4 feet in the ground and it's screwed to the outhouse. So if they tip it over, they're going to have to do it with a pickup truck. It's $95 every time they do that. It just gets to be ridiculous.
Gables Pond
and Doolittle right now, we are in the last week of pond, well, this is forest camp. So we've had 30 kids from Oceana County out there with the Conservation District. The tactile ability for the kids to experience the forest is incredible. And we've been able to partner with a local farmer who is actually doing Christmas tree growing nearby. So the kids are actually walking down there today, and they'll be putting a tag on each tree as a small tree. And as that tree grows, when that tree gets cut, they get to have the tree, giving the kids the tree so they can keep an eye on it over the years. So a lot of good things going on there, to say the least. And that's about it, I think. Not too much. You know, it's not too much going on, so it's been good. It continues to be good. Parks are really being used heavily. We're seeing probably over 100 people a day at Gales Pond. And I can tell you by dumping the garbage every couple of days, there's a lot of people getting lunch there and taking part in that pond. So
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. All right, any public comment this time for Finance and Administration? Hearing none, we'll adjourn the Finance and Administration Committee and take a short 40-minute break. How are you? Good. No.